Looks like there's a whole bunch of garbage. If you don't mind stuffing it in your trasheroo, it sure would help. We're just gonna rock from there. So when I jump on the radio, I'm generally just talking to the mapping crew only. Okay, about 100 yards, that's where it's 5 apart. There's a shelf, 16 inches of drop before filling up, so I'm staying along this part of the road.
Hi everybody, I'm Todd and I'm the founder of Trails Offroad, and I am out in the San Rafael Swell this weekend with some of our amazing crew, and we're out on a little retreat this weekend running some trails that we really love, and we're going to find some new ones and we're going to share them with you right here at trailsoffroad.com. My favorite part about being involved with Trails Offroad is the people. Our riders are some amazing people to hang out with. And these retreat weekends are an absolute blast. A, because we all get to hang out with one another, but also B, in this situation, we like to teach ourselves new skills. And in this trip, it was all about learning how to be better at shooting video. We were all coming in from different areas. John, Tim, Ben, and JD were driving in from Colorado, Corey from Montana, TJ and Sierra from the Salt Lake City area, and Wade and I from Arizona, and Josh from California, and I got to meet up with Josh in Flagstaff and drove all the way up with him.
Hey, how you doing? What's going on?
For our retreat, we wanted to obviously camp, run a bunch of different trails, and then play around with our new camera equipment. To do this, with the size of our group, we wanted to find an amazing camp spot that we could all huddle up and work from each day and come back to each night. Several of our crew members had never met each other, so the first night was really fun getting to know and learn where everybody was from and what their interests are. After a great breakfast and a bunch of coffee, we all sat around and we talked about what it's like to map trails, and we were describing it to Ben, who was brand new with us for this trip. And Ben had one great observation at the very end.
You guys all go out and map, and you're taking photos and video, and you're writing stuff. Like each one, you guys all like subsequently fill that role. Okay, I'm gonna say right out of the gates, that is a tremendous task.
We also learned some things about one another that we never knew before.
I've been in photography since high school. It's more to impress girls.
And John, who does all of our coding and technical work, probably had the best thing to say of us all.
I just want people to see a place that we're at and be like, hey, I want to go there, and how do I get there?
And Ben was wondering what the heck he got himself into.
You have limited time and a lot of content to produce.
However, we might have scared Ben, but we did inspire him.
But now that I've met you guys, I haven't been anywhere.
We spent the first half of the afternoon going through all of our camera equipment and discussing new techniques and new tricks that we were going to try in the field a little bit later on.
Great learning point. The golden rule.
We then went out as a group and we started playing around with our camera equipment. We were all sharing ideas with each other and really trying to push each other beyond our limits so we can become better at what we do in creating the content for the trail guides.
This is really boring.
Literally, like you have to get where I'm at, like get your eye on the ground.
We then took Tim and his JL as a subject driving through the canyon to learn some different angles and approaches that we can use for making better photography and video. By the end of this, Tim probably felt like he was the most famous guy in a Jeep in America with all the paparazzi around. In typical Trails Offroad fashion, it was time for us to do what we do best and that's go explore and hit the trails. We were going to go up and over Temple Mountain, take a bunch of video throughout the whole day, exploring some mines and some pictographs, and then when we got back at camp, go through and look at it all and see what we can learn from our mistakes. North Temple Wash leads to Temple Mine. You go up and over a saddle that is right next to Temple Mountain. These are some very special trails for us here at Trails Offroad because it's a good meeting spot for us when we get together. These are must-do trails in the Trails Offroad book of must-do trails. Temple Mountain is in constant view along this route. It is just so impressive as you drive up and see it from all different directions. I can really understand why the Native Americans looked at this area as so sacred, because it truly is like no other place here in the United States. This particular area is filled with old mines. Back in the day, they used to mine uranium, vanadite, and azurite, and a little bit of copper. When you get into exploring mode, you tend to stop and slow down. You find all sorts of things that are out there that you might not have seen if you were just driving by. These old mine structures are really interesting, but fairly unstable, so definitely be cautious around this area. One of our community members had reported a washout along this trail, so we wanted to check that out to see if we needed to update any of our trail guides. After surveying the potential washout, we wanted to make our way to the pictographs. The Native American cultures that lived in the San Rafael Swell include the Paiute, the Fremont, and the Ute. It's always best just to look and take photos, never touch or disturb these ancient markings. After completing our first stretch of trails, we went back up North Temple Wash, and we realized the sun might give us a good sunset, so we were racing back to get there.
Skydio tracking you right now.
And luckily, someone put up a drone in the air and caught TJ driving through the canyon. We saw the overcast moving in and we realized we probably weren't going to get the sunset we were looking for. So we decided to get a couple drones back up in the air and catch some footage of driving up the wash. And we learned a valuable lesson.
Oh no! Wow, what the? Oh! That was a bad idea.
And that was a bad idea, but the best idea we had was to keep on going and get up top to check out our surroundings and see what that sunset was going to be like. The sunset we were hoping for was never there, but that didn't stop us from sitting back and enjoying each other's company, talking about all the trails that we've driven and all the trails that we will, and planning out tomorrow's adventure on Behind the Reef Trail. Even though the sunset had disappointed us, the lighting was perfect because all the colors were coming out, the temperatures were cooling down, the dust was just kind of hanging in the air, and the headlights were just picking up all these beautiful rays of dust particles, and the colors were amazing. We got back to camp and took just a very quick break, and we wanted to continue just playing around with all this video equipment, so we tried our hand at some night video work, and we captured the lights going through the canyon. After a long night of doing this, we all went to bed pretty quickly, and it was really amazing to me the next morning how many methods there are to make coffee.
It's Josh, Trails Offroad, and when it's 2020, you get the hell out of town and you go to the swell.
America.
America.
It's John with Trails Offroad, and I need to make some coffee before I can think.
My headphones on.
Juiced up on coffee and a belly full of food, we were ready to go hit the trails, but not until we had a driver's meeting first.
The whole principle of the wingman system is if the person behind you for some reason disappears and you lose sight on them, you stop. You're trying to figure out how to leave the canyon.
It's like a cluster down there.
Yeah.
It's a cluster of jeeps. Maps and trails.
Go maps and trails.
Maps and trails today.
If they can figure out how to get off the 405.
We are doing Behind the Reef Road. This is in the south end of the San Rafael Swell in central Utah. Absolutely love this area. It is just incredibly scenic, nothing too technical. Great area to bring your family out on. Yeah, I love this area.
What is so special about these retreat weekends is our crew at Trails Offroad is so dedicated. On these types of mapping missions, everybody plays a vital part in creating some of the best trail guides out there.
Gonna rock from there. So when I jump on the radio, I'm generally just talking to the mapping crew only.
On this particular trail mapping day, we had Sierra was in charge of all the photography. She was a little camera shy, but she sure did a nice job on the photos.
Check.
Yeah, should we send Wade? Do you want to go do that little spur? Think if you drive that, you're going to come out down where I am.
My job right now, aside from driving obviously, is working the GPS information. So right now I'm just tracking our where we're driving, hitting all the waypoints. That's my job. Today.
Well, I'm basically playing scout. I'm running out in front of the mapping crew, kind of doing a little research on the intersections we find, looking for good campsites, things like that, and radioing back to them so that they're prepared whenever they get to that point.
Tim with Trails Offroad.
We're going to drive ahead, take your drone.
This is Tim with Trails Offroad. We're out mapping in central Utah today. TJ is a lead on our map. My job today is note taking. Take information about the trail, what's along the trail, make sure we got it all together so put together a good trail guide for you.
Behind the Reef Road turns into Behind the Reef Trail. The road is definitely a road with amazing views, and the trail is definitely a trail with even better views. Half of our group will continue on up the trail, and the other half will backtrack, and we'll all meet up at Hidden Splendor. Throughout the day, the weather had been turning somewhat, and the wind had really started to kick up. We knew that the desert is not a good place to be in the rain, but we felt pretty comfortable that the rain would hold off, so we continued on. As a group, we were going to huddle up and have lunch where the road meets the trail. Half would continue up the trail, and the other half would zip around back to Hidden Splendor, one of our favorite trails at Trails Offroad. Unbeknownst to us, all that wind and weather was creating havoc back at our camp. We had quite the surprise later in the evening. When we got back to camp later in the day, we had 2 tents were major casualties from the wind.
We may or may not have a casualty here.
And we also have Josh's over there that
But the Oz
did
tent
not
stands.
survive.
The
Oz tent stands.
I might be sleeping outside tonight.
Good, you have broken poles, huh?
Yeah.
And rips.
I think I have tie wire we can lash through there, but these are like 832 size.
We are strike 2 to show that the Oz tent, strong as she is, has survived.
We quickly got Josh's tent back up and standing again without any major damage. John's tent, on the other hand, required zip ties and what is called zip tape to fix.
This is called zip tape. This is used in construction, and it's a pressure-sensitive adhesive that will damn near rip the skin off your hand if you don't let go in time.
I'm trying to get the zipper open so I can get in.
A knife can take care of this.
How do you, I don't know, Corey seems a lot better at this than I am. This is amazing.
It lives!
That tent only lived for another day because it went right into the trasharoo. If it hadn't have been for Corey, those guys would have been without a tent for the night. Now let's get back to Behind the Reef Trail.
And right now we are on Behind the Reef Trail, which is a continuation off Behind the Reef Road. It's not for the faint of heart. Although it's not technically difficult, it is a very narrow shelf road, so you do have to be paying attention. If you don't like shelf roads or a little bit off camber, I wouldn't recommend it. However, if you're okay with that, hands down worth it. You've got to come visit this trail if you were in the swell.
The group that continued on the trail had nothing but amazing things to say about it. Certainly, this is a hidden gem, and probably is now forever in the Trails Offroad book of must-do trails.
This reminds me a little bit of a couple spots on Ajo.
While they were making their way up this beautiful shelf road, the other group was making their way over to Hidden Splendor, which is also a must-do trail in the Trails Offroad book of must-do trails. They call it Behind the Reef Trail, but it should be more like In the Reef. It is a very immersive experience. The stimulus and just the sensory overload here really is just unparalleled anywhere else.
This trail has gone from completely mild to probably my favorite trail in the entire swell. No exaggeration. It has narrow shelf road. There's a few small obstacles to keep it pretty entertaining, but the scenery hands down is just unbeatable. If you are in this area, this has got to be a must-do. I listed that as a fork because it appeared that there was an illegal spur going left. Go ahead and make the note that it's just an unknown spur. Stay right.
Got it.
Nice hubcap, some good shoes. Whoa, watch out walking on this floor. Too much in here. So one of the great things about coming out here and just exploring is you come across unique treasures like this cabin. I mean, just imagine being out here 100 years ago and this was your residence. Think about it. These canyons was your backyard. I mean, I guess it maybe get old at some point, but God, what, 10, 20 years take to get before these views get old? We're gonna check this place out. Keep going down the trail. Stay tuned.
After viewing some wildlife, the group that had done the Behind the Reef trail was on their way to meet us over at Hidden Splendor. They had a nice stretch of 2-track to make up some time on the way. While they were doing that, we were experiencing some old relics of the past on our way out to an aptly named area, Hidden Splendor. Hidden Splendor is very different than Behind the Reef. It is wide open with just amazing plateaus, different colors, long distance views compared to the immersive experience of Behind the Reef. I've always loved Hidden Splendor because it is the quintessential Great American West. We had been driving all day and just could not wait to get out to the Hidden Splendor point to set some chairs up and relax a little bit before we met up with the rest of the group. After a nice long break outside the vehicles, we all met up as a group for a group photo. In between then, Josh and I had gone down to the muddy creek, which wasn't flowing this time of year, but there was these nasty little gnats, and you can just see Josh is just getting chewed up.
Okay. Three, 2, 1.
And together we're Trails Offroad.
Keep looking.
Smile. I hope you enjoyed our behind-the-scenes look of who we are. We are Trails Offroad. Thanks for watching, and we really hope to see you out on the trail.
Introduction, I'm JD with Trails Offroad, and I'm out here getting drone video of the mapping.
You got dust on your camera first. Should tell you that. Oh, that's not. What trail is this?
Your seatbelt be on.
This is Behind the Reef.
Oh, that was on camera. Hey everybody, this is JD with Trails Offroad. I'm out here shooting drone footage.
What trailer are we on?
I don't remember. You just told me.
Behind the Reef.
Behind the Reef?
Yeah.
Hey everybody, this is JD with Trails Offroad. I'm out here on Behind the Reef Trail. Is that the real trail?
Shooting drone. Hi, my name is JD.
Hi, my name is JD with Trails.
Don't walk on his.
Hi, my name is JD with Trailsoffroad.com. We're out here. What is the name of the trail?
Behind the Reef.
Behind the Reef.
Hi, my name's Corey with Trails Offroad, and today we're out on the San Rafael Swell and Behind the Reef doing supporting video. And that was awesome.
It didn't die. It just went limp. Hold on.
Oh man, here we go again.
Wayne's World!
Ah.
You might want to program your
Housekeeping.
Crikey, we got antelope! For sakes, people. Pick up your damn trash. Pick up your trash. Pick up your trash. Figure out how to get my trash bag. There it is. Look. See, watch this. You watching? See how this is trash? I know it's beer and you don't want it on you, but don't leave it out here. Don't leave your damn beer cans out here. We're gonna keep going.